Protests against DOGE and the Trump agenda are getting louder. Anti-Elon Musk demonstrations have erupted across the country. There's a protest at a Tesla dealership in Chicago that had a heavy police presence. In Michigan, more than 10,000 people turned out for a rally with Senator Bernie Sanders as part of his national Fighting Oligarchy tour, while Senator Elizabeth Warren rallied a crowd of more than 3,000 in Texas.
Señores, hoy vamos a hablar de una realidad que termina afectando a todos, y es el caos político y económico que se está viviendo. Ustedes saben que las decisiones de unos pocos terminan marcando el destino de millones. Y sí, señores, estamos viendo como una vez más Donald Trump y Elon Musk están en el ojo del huracán. Todo esto por sus políticas y sus decisiones. ¿Realmente están gobernando para la gente o solo para sus propios intereses? Sean bienvenidos a Políticamente en Desacuerdo. Señores, hoy veremos una advertencia urgente por parte de la senadora Elizabeth Warren enviando un mensaje a Elon Musk y a Donald Trump, mientras aumentan las protestas por el Departamento de Eficiencia Gubernamental, también conocido como DOGE. Así que los invito a que se queden hasta el final de este video porque veremos otras noticias muy importantes. Pues bien amigos, lo primero que quiero que veamos es un fragmento de una audiencia por parte de la senadora Elizabeth Warren, lo cual nos ayudará un poco a entender esta situación. Así que los invito a que pongan atención a lo que dice Elizabeth sobre lo que está pasando. Veamos este clip.
Protests against DOGE and the Trump agenda are getting louder. Anti-Elon Musk demonstrations have erupted across the country. There's a protest at a Tesla dealership in Chicago that had a heavy police presence. In Michigan, more than 10,000 people turned out for a rally with Senator Bernie Sanders as part of his national Fighting Oligarchy tour, while Senator Elizabeth Warren rallied a crowd of more than 3,000 in Texas.
Donald and Elon are bullies. Yes. Like bullies everywhere, Donald and Elon are afraid of people who won't bend the knee. They are afraid of pushback, and we are here to push back.
Joining me now, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Senator, 3,000 people in Texas. It is not a midterm. It is not a presidential election. Your sense of why they're showing up?
Look, people are showing up because Donald Trump last Tuesday night said that he's doing all the things he's doing because that's what the American people have voted for. And I think people are showing up to say, man, we didn't vote for this. We didn't vote for Elon Musk, and we didn't vote to take away nursing home care from our seniors. We didn't vote to undercut our teachers, our students, and our public schools. We didn't vote to say that little babies are not going to get access to the health care that they need. People all over this country are saying we want a government that works for us, not just for a handful of billionaires. That's what this rally was about. That's what Bernie's out there rallying around. And here's the best part. Democrats are actually showing up to listen to people, to rally with people, while Republicans are hiding and being told by their leadership, don't go out in public, don't have any town halls, because you might hear how much people don't like what you're doing.
I'll tell you what was not rallying today, the stock market. Can you explain for those of us who may not be super invested in the market itself why it matters as an indicator?
So think of the stock market as a flashing light, at least for how investors and economists who are looking at kind of the long-range economic trajectory that this country is on. So let's start out. Donald Trump said back when he was running for office, he would do one thing on day one, and that was lower prices for families. His words, not mine. So he's now been there. We're heading into our 8th week. And what has he actually done? And the answer is nothing to lower prices. But he sure as heck has created a lot of economic chaos and things that will actually increase prices for families. So he's played red light, green light with tariffs, on again, off again, with whether or not we have tariffs against Canada, tariffs against Mexico. He and his co-president, Elon Musk, have fired or attempted to fire, because most of this is not legal, thousands and thousands of people who keep airplanes safe up in the air, people who test our drinking water to make sure it's okay to drink, thousands of veterans who work for the federal government, and has basically tried to shut down a couple of agencies and shut down anyone that is investigating any of Elon Musk's businesses. So that's what they've done. And what the stock market, in effect, is flashing red over is that's not how you build a strong economy going forward. You create that kind of chaos. You try to lay off people. What happens is consumers start pulling back. They don't spend as much money. Businesses say, whoa, I can't invest there. I can't know if I can invest in that thing. Is there going to be a tariff or not be a tariff? And the consequence of that is that you start having everyone pull in. That contracts the economy. And that means we're in real economic trouble. And that's where Donald Trump and Elon Musk are driving us.
You also have this big vote tomorrow happening in the House, an effort to avert a government shutdown. And you've pointed out the fact that what we're watching today in 2025 is directly connected to decisions that Republicans made in 2017 about who they wanted to give tax breaks out to and who they think should bear the brunt of that. Talk me through that. Also tell me, do you think that Republicans are going to get 7 votes in your chamber to carry this over the finish line?
I don't think so. So let's talk about it this way. Keep in mind what the real thrust of all of this is about. There is a giant fight going on in Washington. It keeps playing out in different ways, but the basic fight is the Republicans want to give about $4.6 trillion in tax giveaways to millionaires, billionaires, and giant corporations. And how do they want to pay for it? They want to pay for it by taking a hunk out of the hides of seniors, of veterans, of little kids, of public schools. That's their plan. Democrats say, not on our watch. We are not doing that, and we're not going to help you do that. We're fighting back to say billionaires ought to be paying their fair share, and we need to invest in opportunity for everybody. And that means, we continue to pay the money so that grandma can live in the nursing home. We continue to pay for the home health aid for your friend who was in a serious accident and needs some help to be able to live independently. And we continue to invest in our public schools. We continue to do the things that help this economy work and ultimately help bring down prices for American families. This is Democrats versus Republicans. This is who do you fight for? Republicans will fit on a bumper sticker exactly what they're trying to do. Billionaires win, families lose. Democrats, we're fighting that.
Ahí lo tienen. Warren menciona que la gente no votó para que se recortaran fondos de salud, para que se recortaran fondos en educación o programas sociales. Y aquí está el punto clave. Mientras Donald Trump y sus aliados, como Elon Musk, se benefician de recortes fiscales y políticas favorables a los más ricos, el ciudadano promedio ve cómo los servicios básicos se deterioran. Pero a ver, veamos esto en perspectiva. Donald Trump prometió que mejoraría la economía, que los estadounidenses tendrían más dinero en sus bolsillos. ¿Qué pasó en realidad? Tenemos un mercado bursátil inestable. Tenemos despidos masivos, tenemos un sistema en el que solo los multimillonarios salen ganando. ¿Casualidad? No lo creo. Además, hay algo muy preocupante en esta estrategia de Trump, su capacidad para desviar la atención. Mientras las personas están preocupadas por temas como lo es la inflación, o ya se viene la temporada de impuestos, él sigue promoviendo narrativas que desinforman y generan miedo. Ustedes recuerdan su discurso sobre que los estadounidenses lo eligieron para hacer exactamente esto. Amigos, es una forma de manipulación política. Decir que la gente votó por esto es reducir todo a una mentira conveniente para él. Ahora bien, Elon Musk. Él está muy metido en esto. Y no solo se beneficia de las decisiones políticas de Trump, sino que también está impulsando una visión en la cual los trabajadores tienen menos derechos, mientras él sigue acumulando más poder. Es el clásico caso de los ricos queriendo que el sistema funcione a su favor, mientras la mayoría lucha por llegar a fin de mes. Entonces, ¿qué nos queda? Queda responsabilidad de cuestionar. No dejarnos llevar por discursos vacíos, promesas que nunca se cumplen. Donald Trump sigue jugando el mismo juego, beneficiar a los más poderosos mientras vende la idea de que trabaja para el pueblo. Los hechos hablan por sí solos. Pero bueno, ¿qué opinan ustedes? ¿Creen que Trump realmente está ayudando a la gente común o solo a los más ricos? ¿Qué opinan del papel de Elon Musk en todo esto? Vayan dejándome sus comentarios mientras pasamos a la siguiente noticia. Y es que, señores, Donald Trump podemos decir que ha perdido control, luego de que Fox simplemente le da la espalda. Todo esto en un escándalo. Pues bueno, amigos, todo se está derrumbando para Trump poco a poco. Hemos visto cómo la situación ha llegado a tal extremo que ni siquiera la maquinaria propagandística de Fox News puede seguir defendiéndolo. Los desastres económicos se están acumulando. Los escándalos en su administración no dejan de salir a la luz. Y hasta Elon Musk, que es uno de sus aliados más ruidosos, ha causado problemas tan graves que ya no pueden tapar el sol con un dedo. Ahora incluso Fox News ha empezado a criticarlo poco a poco, lo cual yo creo que ya es sorprendente porque no es común escuchar un poco de verdad en ese canal. Antes de entrar en todo lo que ha mostrado este presentador de Fox News, que es de la línea MAGA, quiero dejar en claro que se ha dicho mucho sobre el desastre que ha sido la administración de Trump. Quiero que escuchemos un poco las palabras de uno de las comentaristas, digamos que favoritas de Fox, que no dudó en señalar la realidad. Veamos esto.
They're whipping no on this vote.
Yeah, it's not just whipping. They're going to be a no on this bill. There's no reason for Democrats to support a continuing resolution that they, first of all, weren't consulted on at all. No one came to say, hey, what do you think about these things? And then they would have heard, hey, we are not okay with cutting nutritional assistance. We're not okay with cutting veterans benefits, Social Security benefits, Alzheimer's research. So there's no reason that Democrats should bail out the Republicans. We've been hearing since the election that this is the largest mandate in American history. So prove it. And Guy may very well be right that Speaker Johnson can get this over the hurdle, and then they have a whole year to figure out how to govern, how to get their spending bill through that's going to cut, what, $880 billion from Medicaid. So time will tell on that, but we're not here to bail them out.
I hope Jessica is totally successful. I hope she's completely successful.
Thanks, Ben.
And I hope that this goes the way that you want, because I can't wait to see what Doge will do when the government is shut down. If the government shuts down, the amount of things that you can do that where the traps just open up, where they can just cut even further than they already are, you'll find out, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
How
I'm
many
totally
people
sassy with
are
Massey
enough
in
for
this
you
moment.
to get fired? What's your goal? How many tens of thousands do you want just fired?
Can we start with half? is that a reasonable number? No, look, I think that you are making I think that you are making a monumentally stupid decision in terms of whipping in this direction, and I think that Chuck Schumer is, quite correctly trying to prevent Hakeem Jeffries from making a huge mistake that would only benefit those of us who think that the government is just full of pork to be cut and that bureaucrats absolutely should be sent packing.
Let me ask you this then.
Okay.
But what Jesse is saying makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Let me give you an example. Germany taxes or adds a 10% tariff to our cars. We add a 2.5% tariff to their BMWs, their Mercedes, and everything else. Don't you think tariffs should be reciprocal?
I don't think that they should necessarily be identical.
Why
in terms
not?
of reciprocity.
Why not?
I don't think that's the way the economies work. I think that keeping the Chinese tariffs was obviously a good idea. Biden even did that. But you guys know, and you're ignoring what's going on, that these tariffs are bad for Americans. A majority know that it will raise costs. That's the reason they had to walk them back. And don't talk to me about India and the Indians being on Harley Davidsons. Talk to me about the automakers.
Move on to Dana, because
just
we have no
1 second
time.
here. 82% of Americans want Trump to be focused on the economy. Only 36% says that he's actually doing that. They know the tariffs are a loser. Howard Lutnick is trying to backtrack. Scott Bessent trying to backtrack on it.
Well,
it will bankrupt people.
You know what, Dana?
Señores, ya he hablado mucho, ¿no?, de Jessica Tarloff en otros videos, porque poco a poco ha demostrado que, al parecer, andan con ciertos problemas de favoritismo, y justo dio en el clavo. Tal y como lo hemos repetido, es fundamental que no solo se exponga que Trump no ha cumplido sus promesas, sino que activamente está traicionando a sus seguidores. No es que haya fracasado en sus intenciones, es que está deliberadamente perjudicando a la gente con sus aranceles, con los recortes de $800 millones a Medicaid. Donald Trump no te quiere. Sus acciones no son erróneas, son decisiones calculadas. Lo peor, amigos, es que el daño que está causando ya es tan evidente que, como vemos, hasta Fox News lo está reconociendo. De hecho, Peter Doocy, uno de los presentadores que son más pro-Trump en la cadena, también tuvo que admitir algunas verdades. Veamos ese momento.
And we also expect the White House to try to reassure folks who are sitting there looking at their 401ks going down and down and down. This is a White House that came in trying to get federal workers to retire by the hundreds of thousands, but it's tough to make the argument that you should retire if your retirement accounts are getting throttled, which is what is happening right now. So we hope for answers to all of these curiosities any minute. John?
Thank you, Caroline. So you said that the Dow dropping and dropping and dropping is a period of transition. You're sure nobody here at the White House shorted the Dow?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Miren, yo nunca voy a terminar de darle demasiado crédito a Peter Doocy, pero al menos lo llamo como es, ¿no? Me sorprende que haya tenido que esperar hasta que la economía colapsara para decir algo, ¿no? ¿Por qué no dijo antes eso? ¿Por qué no lo mencionó cuando los primeros signos del desastre eran evidentes? No se trata de principios ni de verdad, es pura conveniencia, ¿no? Él tiene razón en esto. Donald Trump hizo promesas y las rompió en tiempo récord. Apenas pasaron unas semanas de su gobierno y ya había destrozado su propio discurso de campaña. Y ahora la excusa que estamos escuchando desde la Casa Blanca es que estamos en una transición. Pero parece que la única transición que permite el gobierno de Trump es la de una economía estable a una economía en ruinas. O sea, ¿en qué momento este desastre se convierte oficialmente en la economía de Trump? Cuando Biden dejó la presidencia, al menos los mercados no estaban a la baja. Teníamos mercados a la alza. La economía estaba intentando alzar. Pero ahora todo se está viniendo abajo. Lo más irónico es que Trump, que en noviembre se jactaba de que su administración ya había comenzado incluso antes de asumir el cargo, ahora no quiere ni aceptar ninguna responsabilidad por sus fracasos. Qué conveniente. Lo peor es que esto no se va a detener aquí. Los fracasos seguirán ocurriendo, independientemente de si los republicanos logran aprobar su presupuesto, cosa que lo hicieron el día de ayer, si no me equivoco, tal y como lo señaló Elizabeth Warren en esta intervención.
President.
Senator from Massachusetts.
Mr. President, are we in a quorum call?
We are.
I ask that the quorum call be lifted.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Donald Trump and co-president Elon Musk are shutting down the federal government one piece at a time. Shutting down the agency that stops banks and payday lenders from cheating working people. Shutting down children's cancer research. Shutting down key parts of the Department of Transportation, the agency responsible for keeping people safe when they're flying airplanes. Even shutting down parts of the Social Security Administration. And now, Republicans in Congress are laying out their blueprint to shut down the entire federal government. A budget is a reflection of our values, and this proposal makes clear where the Republicans' values lie. After months of bipartisan talks, they're walking away from the negotiating table and offering a non-starter House bill that forces us to the brink of a full government shutdown. And who would be hurt the most? Working people. Billionaires win, families lose. Republican values are clear. Their shutdown bill does two terrible things. First, it wipes out the guardrails that Congress wrote for how to spend taxpayer money. That means that co-presidents Trump and Musk can hold everyone under their magic spell. They can spend taxpayer money or they can shut off taxpayer money exactly how they want. Perhaps Trump and Musk want to shovel $75 million of ALS treatment funding to anti-vaccine research instead. That would be okay under the Republican deal. Or maybe they want to shift $300 million or more from the FAA's telecommunications funding bucket toward contracts to Elon Musk Starlink. The budget Republicans have sent over would permit that as well. And if Trump and Musk decide to fire another 25,000 veterans or kick 1 million old people out of nursing homes, this package from House Republicans would say, sure. In addition to giving co-presidents Trump and Musk the power to spend taxpayer money wherever they want, the House Republicans also propose general cuts. Cuts from programs that help families put food on the table, afford child care, and keep our communities safe. Cuts from local communities for projects like improving hospitals, teaching facilities, and child care centers. Dollars that the House and the Senate had already agreed to. But the House Republican package isn't just about cutting out veterans and old people. No, it's also about spending more money. Republican House members want to pour an extra $6 billion over the next 6 months. Yep, that's $1 billion a month directly to the Pentagon. No explanation, no justification of why this money is needed. Nope. Cuts everywhere else in government, but a funding increase for the one government agency that has never passed an audit. That agency, the Department of Defense, gets $1 billion a month. House Republicans want to give $6 billion more dollars to make sure that defense contractors continue to get their fat paychecks. Look, Republicans in Congress don't care whether the government shuts down because they don't care about hurting working families. All they care about is getting back to jamming through their true agenda. $4.6 trillion worth of tax handouts for millionaires, billionaires, and giant corporations, paid for by gutting health care for millions of people. Donald Trump looked Americans in the eye and said he'd, quote, lower costs on day one. Those were his words. And now we are 7 weeks in, and he has done the exact opposite. He is raising costs for families. More people are losing their jobs. Sky-high child care, housing, and food costs. And it's open season right now for banks and credit card companies and shady student loan outfits to scam the American people. The Republican shutdown playbook is dangerous, and it will hurt working families. Democrats are right to oppose the House bill, and people all across this country are right to expect us to stand up and fight back. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield.
Entonces, amigos, hay que seguir presionando, ¿no? No podemos dejar de señalar que los republicanos magas solo tienen dos formas de gobernar. O no pueden hacerlo, o cierran el gobierno, o gobiernan para beneficiar exclusivamente a los multimillonarios. Son opciones que están presentes. Podemos elegir la democracia o simplemente, amigos, la elección parece estar bastante clara. Como siempre, vamos a seguir hablando de esto en este canal. Muchas gracias por acompañarme. Recuerden que si me quieren apoyar, regálame un like, comparte el video con tus amigos y suscríbete a nuestro canal Políticamente Desacuerdo. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.